didn't like that, but China was just offering to
Mhm.
manufacture these things for so much cheaper. So the American companies were like, let's forget about Americans. Let's do this for cheap in China. And
Yeah,
it pissed off a lot of Americans. So
yeah. That's not only Americans, but Koreans also moved their factories to China.
wow,
Japan did
wow.
that. Europeans did that. Everybody basically did the same.
Yeah, they did. And it's a really
Yeah,
dirty move because what you're doing is you're giving all your money to China
yeah.
because it benefits you as an individual. So if you have a company in
Mhm.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and you were employing Americans for 20 years, and you said, wait a minute, I can employ Chinese people for 20% of what I'm paying
Maybe
the
10%.
10%. So they
At that time, not now.
at
It's
that
maybe not
time,
true. Yeah,
but
yeah,
still
yeah,
much cheaper. And so, but then it benefits that person, but it doesn't benefit the scores and scores of
yeah.
Americans that
It
lost the
also
job.
benefits environment. You can get rid of factories.
Sure, it benefits
Yeah,
the environment too. Yeah,
yeah,
if you yeah, right.
yeah.
But
That's why China is so environmentally
yeah,
so bad because of
because they're producing so
yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah. All the factories are there basically. Yeah,
Right. But I
yeah.
think the only thing that allows them to
Hmm.
do the only thing that allowed them to incur this for so
Hmm.
long was the fact that they're such a big country. So they have a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah. It's a
land.
big country, right?
So
Yeah,
so if they were smaller, they wouldn't have been able to incur all
right.
of that environmental damage. So,
Yeah.
and that's also the case with Canada because we have a big oil industry in Western Canada, but
Mhm.
it's a big environmental problem. But Canada's so big that 95% of Canada doesn't even notice
Oh,
because
mm,
the country's so big. So
right.
it
Yeah.
only transpires in a very
Uh-huh.
small region of Canada,
Mm.
which is bad and it's terrible for wildlife. But if you live in Toronto, you would have no idea that that even exists. So it's sometimes it's so if Korea did that, everyone would be dead in 10 years because the land is so small.
Well, let me
So
tell you, before China did that, Korea did that.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
for other countries. And before
Okay,
Korea
okay,
did that, Japan did that.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
Japan
for other
had a
countries.
serious problem though. Japan
Yeah,
really
in
did a
their
lot of
like 60s and 70s, I can
Mhm,
say,
mhm.
around that time,
Yes,
especially 60s.
right.
In case of the US, it was
Mhm.
1930, 40, like around that time. Like
Okay.
they had a lot of factories.
Yes.
Um, and also in Europe. Um, yeah, so now Chinese make the most ships
Okay.
for the world.
Yes.
And before China, it was Korea.
I
Before
think
Korea,
Korea
it was
still
Japan.
does.
Yeah, still does, but we can't compete with Chinese price.
Okay.
Simply, our labor is too expensive to compete with
Right.
Chinese labor. So
Right.
what the companies do is that they focus on, hyper functionality featured
Yes.
ships,
Yes.
things like the ship that can go through the icy area.
Yes.
So it grinds ice right in front of what the ship, and then
Yes.
it goes like around the Atlantic area, like
Right.
and then it also has a way to lay down its I don't know what's that called, drill. It can
Yeah, the
drill
drill.
from the ship,
Yes. Yes.
and then
Yes.
it can suck up the oil from the
Oil.
ground.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that
that's
kind of
very interesting.
yeah
The
that
that's the offshore drilling.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So that one is about 10 or 20 times more expensive than the container ship,
Okay. Okay.
and it's even smaller. but like 10
smaller.
to 20 times more expensive.
Yes.
Those are the
right.
ships that now Koreans are focusing on building,
Oh,
because
okay.
just producing container ships, we just can't pay our people.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're focusing on
Specific,
manufacturing the oil drilling ships.
yeah, there's also a ship that carries a ton of gas from one
Okay. Oh yeah,
place to another.
they call them yeah, the oil carriers.
Yeah, okay. Gas.
Yeah.
What I mean by gas is like natural gas.
Natural gas. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, those are huge. We see them in Nova Scotia because Nova Scotia is situated right on the Atlantic Ocean, and we have a lot of those kind of ships. And they're probably Korean ships, but they're taking oil from Saudi Arabia and Dubai.
Yeah, right.
And they're absolutely,
yeah, those are probably Korean ships. And then also some public transportations in Canada are also from Korea. Right. You may know when you look at the logo inside.
Well, I probably told you before. You remember in Ansan when I used to show you, I used to talk about the trucks, and I used to show you I remember sometimes I would show you the details on the big trucks in Ansan. And because I used to drive those trucks when I worked in the oil industry. And sometimes I would pick up the Korean containers in Vancouver, the Hanjin.
Yeah, Hanjin is from.
Yeah, Hanjin.
Yeah, Hanjin.
I would pick up those containers in Vancouver, and I would take them back to the oil industry in Alberta. So, so that was terrible. because it was so terrible. It was the worst job I ever did. And I did the operator job because it pays a lot more money than doing the physical labor job.
Right.
And the physical labor job pays a lot too, because anything in oil pays a lot of money, but you get big money if you're an operator. But it was so terrible because you have to drive for like 12 hours a day.
Wow, 12 hours a day?
12 hours a day, and you just go crazy. And you have to sleep in the truck.
Oh.
And you have to shower
off of
at gas station.
Even after 12 hours?
Well, when you drive for 12 hours, then you park the truck in a truck yard. And Canada has these big truck yards at these big gas stations. And then you have to sleep in the truck.
Oh.
And then when you wake up, most of the time you don't shower unless the gas station you're at has they have these truck stop showers. Then you get up and you go back in the truck and you drive for another 12 hours. And I did that.
Wow.
I did that for 1 year. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. I didn't, it was the worst job I ever had. So I would have rather do the labor work for 50% less money.
Oh.
But if you do that job, it's 20 million a month.
20 million.
20 million a month. 20,000 American dollars a month. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's
a lot of money.
I think when you tell that many Koreans, they would be willing to do that.
they would be willing to do it. Well, there's tons of actually.
But what about tax? What's the actual amount after tax?
Okay, after tax that would be about 15,000 a month. Yeah, 15. Yeah.
As I know, the tax in Canada is so high,
so high,
above
so high,
40%. But still, you only pay 5,000 for tax. That's very good.
Maybe 6, maybe 7. Well, put it this way: if you make 60,000 in Canada, the tax gets higher the more you make.
Yeah, right. So
actually,
in case
it might
of
be
20,000,
it might be 14. It might be 14.
My estimation may be 10,000 when you make 20.
It wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be 10. I don't think it'd be 10 because that'd be 50%.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
So
about.
yeah, well, if you make, I know that if you make 60 in Canada, you take home about 40.
Well, okay, 60,
60.
60,000,
If you get
16,
60,000, 60,
60,000. Okay,
yeah, then
that's
you
a lot of
take
money.
home
Okay,
about 40,000 at the,
40.
yeah. Yeah, but
So
then
the
again,
tax is not that high. So some people they're saying to me that the tax is as high as above 40%. So you basically get only half of the
I don't think it's 40,
what you get paid.
maybe. But well, the thing is in Canada too, we have other taxes too. For
Yeah,
example, we have an excruciating property tax.
yeah.
So if you own a house in Vancouver,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna pay, oh my God, you're gonna pay 10,000 a year on property tax.
10,000 a year.
On property tax, and that's not including your
Okay,
mortgage.
so
That's
how much is the house then for the
oh, the house is
10,000?
1.5 million in
1.5
Vancouver.
million.
In
Then
Vancouver,
you
yeah,
you have to pay 10,000 per year.
just for property tax.
Yeah, per year, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's not
So
including
that
your electricity or any. That's just the property
yeah,
tax.
I get
Yeah,
it. That's gonna be
yeah,
like a 7%,
yeah,
something like that, right?
yeah. So the thing is with Canada, even if you take home 40, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get taxed in other realms as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the
But
only thing,
like even in Korea, there's property tax. So I don't know, like what's the percentage of property tax? But as you see, Moon Jae-in keeps raising
oh yeah,
property
yeah, it's
tax.
brutal now.
And
It's brutal
when you
now.
have
Yeah.
two houses,
Hmm.
and obviously you don't live in two houses, you only live in one house,
Hmm.
and the property tax goes up much higher
Yes.
than when you only own one house.
Hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure like how much is the property tax. I'm sure there's a list of like based on how much the property is worth,
Hmm.
and how much debt you have. Like all after all the calculation, you will need to pay a certain amount of money. But as I know, Canada has very high tax, and
Yeah.
the tax goes to the bottom 40%. That's what people know, that when Americans get pissed off of the big corporations and stuff like that, they decide to go to Canada. They jokingly say, I will be in
And they do.
Canada.
They
Yeah,
do.
yeah, they do. And that's because of high tax, but that comes to them like high tax, but it comes to the bottom 40%.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Their America is taxed even more than Canada,
No
especially in
way. No, no, no. Canada has higher tax.
higher tax.
Canada,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it
Uh,
depends on the region
I'm not sure
because
about that, but
Los Angeles is way worse than
I
Canada,
know. California in
California,
general, the tax is high, but
and New York
can
too.
yeah, yeah, right, right. But Canada in general, the tax is quite high. I
It's
think we
very high.
can
Yeah.
do the research, and Canada is just about the same as any European countries when it comes to
Mhm.
tax.
I think it's
Um,
probably higher than I'm describing, probably, because I never
yeah, so
paid too much attention to it.
because as I know, like I've talked to some people who worked in Canada actually, and
Mhm.
they all say that when I get paid, when get this pay slip, or I don't know what's that called, pay slip, or
Payslip, yeah.
yeah, and then they see that the actual salary is, let's say, 10,000, then 5,000 goes for the tax or for
Yes.
something else. So what
Yes.
they actually get, the cash, is only half of the salary.
Right.
That's
Sure.
how they
Probably.
describe.
Probably. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I'm the guy that I never emphasized anything about banking or taxes while I was living in Canada. I would just focus on just the basic things I needed. So, but I knew it was very high, and I would always hear people mentioning that, and I know that it's higher than most nation, and I know that it's
That's
drastically
what I'm
higher than
talking about.
Korea.
Yeah,
So, but Korea has been, they have been the
low tax
ranks
country, kind of.
have been until the last decade.
Yeah,
The ranks have
right.
been swelling. So
Yeah, and that's also one reason why we were able to grow at such a fast pace.
yes,
Yeah,
because there was a affordable tax
yeah,
for
low tax.
the populace.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah. But it's going up and up. Our government also wants to have like a European model, high tax, and the tax money goes for the bottom 40%. And now the new US President Biden is also pushing that agenda. So there are not many countries in the world that has very low tax now.
So what is because I don't immerse myself in this area as much as I should. Permissible to taxes and inflation and all these things, and I wonder what is the mainspring for all of these nations raising their tax, and why can't we have a persistent balance of tax and have everybody have affordable housing, have all of these, just the fundamentals, because the next generation that are being bred in this world, they don't have the fundamentals. There's a major absence of the basic fundamentals, and I wonder that what is the mainspring for them doing that.
First, simply people hate corporations. You
Right.
last time talked about workers in grocery store. They
Mhm.
complain about how bad Walmart is,
Mhm.
stuff like that, right?
Right.
So they want higher wage, higher hourly wage.
Mm.
So to achieve that, the government simply has to take some money away from rich people, right? Yeah, so those rich people are or in corporation, and so by raising corporate tax, there will be a lot of money accumulated,
Right.
and with that money, the government can spend it for the bottom 40%.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it's an
Sounds good, right?
upended. Well, yeah. It sounds complicated
Mhm.
because the citizenry are taking a big hit when you look at Canada now, and there's so many things are more expensive than they were previously.
Yeah, that's because of another type of tax, that is
Right.
inflation. I'm sure you've
Inflation.
heard of inflation a lot.
Right. Right.
Inflation simply means it sounds complicated, but it simply means the government devaluing their currency.
Right.
So meaning the purchasing power of our currency goes down. So
Mhm.
we need to have more money to pay the same thing. To
Right.
buy the same thing, we have to simply pay more. Let's say
Right.
sandwich has been for like last 2 years, it's been $10.
Right.
Then now we have to pay $12 or $15. So the last year, 2020, the U.S. government devalue their currency about 40%. And the rest of the world also did the same.
Wow. Wow. So you're
So
saying
when
that the
that
price of
happens,
everything increased in all of these countries that were
everything,
devalued. Okay.
everything,
Yes.
everything, including housing.
Yes.
What else? Like simple needs like toilet paper or like just everything.
Right.
Just everything that you need to pay for. Like it just goes up. Meat,
Yeah.
price of meat, price of
What
everything.
and you're saying that while the pay is remaining the same. Of course,
So
that's what you're mentioning.
That's the sad part because
Yes.
that's what the government usually do.
Yes.
They increase a little bit of the wage, but it usually remains the same in
Right.
case of the wage. When everything goes up, so relatively, those who have a lot of asset like stocks,
Right.
houses, they get richer. Relatively, actually, it's the same thing, but because just currency got devalued, that's why it looks like they have more money, but actually it's the same. But
Right.
because the price of labor kind of stays the same, so the gap between the rich and poor grows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
And
inflation is supposed to be helping the bottom 40%,
right,
but
but it's
actually
not.
it doesn't do that.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but then people like to get this the Corona paycheck for
Yes.
for free without working, and they don't know that their future house that they have to buy, their future car that they have to buy next year, it's all going up.
Yes.
So what they are getting is kind of debt.
Right.
Yeah, and that
So they're
a lot
taking
of people
with this
don't
free
understand.
money. This free money is just going to transfer into higher tax in the long run.
Higher price of everything.
Higher price of everything. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the government is not, they're not brandishing free money for no reason. They're brandishing this with the
yeah.
right.
You can see that the government is designed to do what people want, right?
Right.
So that's what majority of people want. Then the government says, okay, then we will do. Why should I explain that these complicated things to every citizens when inflation comes?
Well, they're supposed to broadcast it so that it reaches
then
enough
why
of
do we
the
need
of the
to
population.
why do we need to vote
that's
them?
part of their
They
responsibility.
are gonna lose in election.
Oh, sure. Okay, so you're saying that they do it for a popularity vote.
Yeah, their popularity simply means money. They can make money.
So are
right?
you kind of are you implying that because some political figures make very brave decisions and have their
unpopular decisions,
unpopular decisions, and then their notoriety plummets.
Yeah,
They lose their notoriety because of the brave, because of the unpopular decision. But then, but what they're doing in actuality is they're doing a service for all the communities, but the communities are not intelligent enough to identify that.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what's going on.
So the people that do that, the people that just brandish all this money to the masses, they're what they're doing is they're destroying the nation so that they can stand on a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can stand and say, "Oh, look, I did." See, that is disgusting. That is disgusting. you know?
Yeah,
Right now,
when you think about Blackpink and all
yes,
these BTS, whoever,
right,
they kind of produce the entertaining value, right, for people.
right.
But does it really help them to get more money? It's there for their popularity, and as they gain that popularity, they make money, right?
Yes,
Therefore, they are doing it so hard.
yes.
So human beings are just like that. Like I don't blame all these people trying to get attention. The news media is like that. Um, it's just like that. Yeah.
So the K-pop one is that one is diverting because it's something many people can
Yeah.
grasp. When we talk about all these business components,
Yeah.
a lot of people can't really identify with those things because it's very confusing statistical
Mhm.
concepts. But when you talk about K-pop, that's something that many people can identify with, especially young people.
Yeah.
And to put that in such a context, like building these figures that are so popular, and then they are acquiring all this money as a result,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
don't even really understand that they're
Yeah.
just
Right.
perpetuating this. They're
Yeah.
not doing anything to
Yeah.
build themselves. They're
Yeah.
just perpetuating the popularity of these
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah.
And
That's the
it's
human
it's a good
nature.
analogy. It's a good
Yeah.
analogy because, and when we're doing these, when you and I are constructing
Mhm.
these kind of podcasts, it's good to it's good to construct concepts that people can identify with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we talk about anything to do with K-pop, we're going to
Mhm.
strike a young audience, and for older audiences, we can
Wait a
think of
second.
other
Wait
things.
a second. But let's think about McDonald example that we talked about
Yes,
last time.
right, right,
McDonald is exactly the same, that they make delicious food. That doesn't mean it's healthy, right?
right,
It's
right.
good for our health. And it tastes good. It's cheap, easy to buy. You don't need to wait a lot. There's definitely the convenience side of benefit, but
Right,
when it comes to health side of benefit, it lacks a lot, and it
right,
actually damaging our body.
right, right.
Um, but then people buy it. People
Yes,
love unpleasant lie. People don't like. People love pleasant lie,
pleasant
and
lies. Yeah,
people,
yeah.
yeah, people hate unpleasant
Brutal
truth.
honesty. Brutal
Yeah,
honesty is
right.
is very difficult for people, and that's why
Yeah,
children hate their parents,
yeah,
because their parents give them tough love.
right.
So
Yeah, yeah. And then whenever I have conversation with Americans, even with
mhm,
you, even with
mhm,
like usually people from the West,
mhm.
they are good at kind of sugarcoating
Yes,
the itch of
sugarcoating. Yeah.
the conversation. I mean, it's a
Yes.
negative way to put it, but in a way, it's good.
Mhm.
Psychologically, we need that kind
Right.
of thing. We need
Sure.
sugar. You know, we we
We do.
we we can't just eat broccoli and the
Sure.
white meat,
Yes.
and then we have to boil everything. We can never fry anything. We
Yes.
cannot eat anything sweet.
Mhm.
We sometimes need unpleasant lie, and
Yes.
as long as it helps us, it makes us feel better. We sometimes need that,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why alcohol is legal, even if it's a
Yes.
drug.
Yes.
People are not supposed to drink alcohol,
Right.
but we drink anyway. It's a
Yes.
drug. It's harmful. People
It's
smoke it.
very harmful. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The, just, I mean, I don't know how I can put it, but this is human nature.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we just love unpleasant lie, pleasant
Right.
lie, sadly, and we hate
Sure.
unpleasant truth. And when we only
Now,
talk about unpleasant truth, a lot of people will hate us.
well, and I think that if we only elaborated on pleasant truth, I believe that that would not be that would not be a solid game plan for the long run.
Yeah.
It's I think that you do have to strike a balance, but of course you don't. There's obviously an amount of pleasant lie that you can disperse to your
Yeah.
family members and your friends. And you're really walking a tightrope, because if you disperse too much, then you are building them for failure. And on the other side of the
Yeah.
spectrum, if
Yeah.
you only say the brutal honesty, then you're going to really discourage them,
Yeah.
and it's going to be counterintuitive. So
I also believe that probably unpleasant truth is more helpful for everyone.
okay,
But more we know about unpleasant truth, the life becomes meaningless. Like
yes,
we start feeling like what's the point of living?
right, sure, yes,
So I came to even that point because when you think about human beings, scientifically, when you think about it for a long time, um, I came to this point that we are animals that we are processing this oxygen to carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide goes to plants, and plants convert it to oxygen, so that the balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen, uh, um, uh, I mean, it becomes balanced on the planet, on this
right,
planet, and therefore the Earth won't explode.
right,
So we are there to just kind of part of the Earth.
mhm.
So
We are part
yeah,
of the ordinance
yeah,
of the
yeah,
Earth's existence.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So that's who we are, and then
right,
I don't
that's our
really.
place,
Yeah. This is
right.
Earth is just we are like we are just a moving plants.
Mhm.
And
So in that wise, because I never really cross-examined you on the whole religion thing.
Mhm.
And is that something that you believe in or don't believe in, or are
Religion,
you undecided?
okay, religion is, I mean, but I want to say this. This is unpleasant truth.
Right,
Religion is pleasant lie, and
sure,
people need that.
sure.
And then because a lot of people doubt on themselves, and
Mhm.
a lot of people have very low self-esteem, they need
Yes,
something to rely on. They need
right,
something that they can easily trust,
yes.
something that is perfect, something that is above human beings, something that will never abandon them.
Mhm.
And we created something called God, and that is full of pleasant lie,
Right.
and we get energy out of it.
Yes, we do. We do.
Yeah, yeah,
That's really you really beautified that, because the way that you um really synchronized all of your thoughts is something that a lot of people need. Do they need to hear? I mean, I don't know. It's a big statement, but I really can esteem that statement. If you look at religion and you look at all of the hypotheses that are in our existence, it's religion would be the worst theory out of everything. You look at all the theories, because most of the theories that have impact on the world are scientific theories that are repetitiously deduced. It's repetition until we can deduce something. When we finally deduce something, we go through more repetitions. So scientists work tirelessly to come to very explicit conclusions. And with religion, you're not allowed to scrutinize their theory. You're not allowed to deduce. You're not allowed to put it through the ringers. You're just supposed to leave it alone. And then comes thousands of other religions, and they all say that they are the ebotomy of life and the ebotomy of the world. And so it's the worst theory for so many reasons. And it really aggravates
Andrew,
me because
here I want to tell you something.
Yes.
We just don't call it as religion, but I believe that, let's say, Bitcoin or US dollar or gold or our system or system that is in North Korea, these are also kind of religion. It's all based on our belief. Why does the US dollar have value? Well, how can why? I mean, why does somebody give you something when you pay US dollars? Well, who said that it has that value?
Right.
Yeah. So it's just our belief. We
that's
we believe and we
I never thought about that before. You just conveyed something that I never thought of before. So you're an original man, because I never thought about a regime like North Korea being a religion.
Yeah, even South Korea
or
even the
company
US
or South Korea or
Yeah,
anywhere. Because
even
when you think
companies.
about religion, obviously we naturally we succinct religion to that house, that really cool architectural house with the cross on the top and the beautiful interior. That's what that's the emblem of religion. But the way you just described it, I never thought of an emblem in the form of a country or a company or something like that. So that's a very good point. So what you're saying is it's a sweeping concept that really is reduced to belief. It's all about belief and what people believe.
About belief. It's all about belief. We are just too stupid that we can't explain everything. We are I think we are way too stupid that nobody can tell exactly scientifically why it's like that. And there has been no one able to explain clearly why it is like that, why it is like that. Even the guy, the Newton, who figured out the theory of by dropping the apple. I don't know what's that called in English. But he also invested money in during the tulip bubble. Like crazy, and he bought tulip at very high price, and he lost all his money. So even that smart person makes so stupid mistake.
But his background was physics, right? His background was physics.
And also let me tell you, many mathematicians also try to decode how to make money out of stock market, and they failed. Many of them failed.
Doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Because the stock market doesn't move based on the number. It moves based on the emotional people.
Yeah, exactly. What they were trying to do is they were trying to solve a mathematical formula. And the stock market's not a mathematical formula, although math is an equation of it.
Right.
But the majority of it is, like you just mentioned, it's purely based off of, not purely, but it's for the most part based off of emotions.
Right.
So
Yeah, human emotion.
Right. Right.
And
So it doesn't surprise me about
yeah,
Newton.
yeah. And when you think about going to a restaurant, you go to a restaurant, they serve really good food, and that's only $10.
Right.
But then the owner of restaurant is such a jerk. He says bad things to his employees, to the people coming. Would you go to the restaurant that?
No, if he was a douchebag, I wouldn't go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's what most people do. So
Yes.
the reason that we go to a restaurant, and we believe that we go there to eat, but actually we go there to have a happier feeling.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with the ambience. It has to do with the people we're dealing with, at the
Yeah.
convenience. We don't have to clean the dishes up, and all of these factors.
Yeah, yeah. We basically pay money also to we think that we pay money to buy something, and it's mostly because of to fulfill our emotion.